The restaurant was glowing with warm lights, soft music, and the sound of laughter. It was Emily's 32nd birthday, and every important person in her life had been invited. Her parents sat proudly near the front. Her coworkers filled one side of the room, while friends from college gathered around another table. Everyone seemed happy. Everyone was celebrating. I sat quietly beside her, pretending to smile. For 3 months, I had skipped lunch at work, walked home instead of taking the bus, and worked every weekend just to save enough money for one gift. It wasn't the most expensive necklace in the jewelry store, but it was the one she had stopped to admire months earlier while we were walking through the shopping district. She had looked at it through the glass and whispered, "One day I hope someone loves me enough to buy me something like that." I never forgot those words. Every extra dollar I earned went into a small envelope hidden inside my closet. Some nights I went to bed hungry because I refused to touch that money. I wanted her birthday to be perfect. When the waiter finally rolled out the birthday cake, everyone clapped and sang. Emily smiled brightly as she blew out the candles. Then her friends pushed the wrapped presents toward her. She laughed with excitement while opening one expensive gift after another. Designer perfume, luxury handbags, a new smartwatch. Every gift received loud applause. Mine was the smallest box on the table. My heart raced as she reached for it. "This one's from Daniel," she announced. I smiled nervously. She slowly opened the box. Inside rested the silver necklace. For a brief second, she simply stared at it. I waited for her smile. Instead, she laughed. Not a quiet laugh, a loud laugh. The entire restaurant turned toward us. "Oh my God," she said, holding up the necklace. "Is this real?" Several guests chuckled. I felt my stomach tighten. She continued, "It looks like something from a discount market." More laughter spread across the room. Someone whispered, "That's embarrassing." I tried to explain. "I saved for months because I remembered you liked." She interrupted before I could finish. "You actually thought this was good enough for me." The room became silent. Then, she stood, walked toward me, and slapped me across the face. The sound echoed through the restaurant. Nobody moved. Nobody defended me. Nobody even looked uncomfortable. Emily stared directly into my eyes. "You are the biggest disappointment of my life." Those words hurt more than the slap. I slowly stood from my chair. My face burned with embarrassment. Around me, people avoided eye contact. Some looked down at their phones. Others pretended nothing had happened. I realized something painful. The people around us weren't just watching. They were accepting it. Without saying another word, I quietly walked out of the restaurant. Outside, cold air hit my face. For several minutes, I simply stood there. Cars passed. People laughed inside nearby cafes. Life continued as if nothing had happened. But everything inside me had changed. When I reached our apartment later that night, Emily wasn't home. She had continued celebrating. I walked through every room. The photographs on the wall showed happier times. Vacations, birthdays, anniversaries, memories that suddenly felt fake. I opened the closet, pulled out one old suitcase, folded a few shirts, packed 2 pairs of jeans, my passport, a notebook, and the little cash I had left after buying the necklace. That was everything I owned. Before leaving, I looked around the apartment one final time. I wasn't angry anymore. I was empty. I placed my wedding ring on the kitchen table. Beside it, I left one short note. "I hope one day you understand what respect means. Goodbye." I closed the door quietly behind me. I never went back. The next morning, I boarded the cheapest international flight I could afford. I had no job waiting, no relatives overseas, no guaranteed future. Only one promise to myself. I would never again allow someone to decide my worth. The first months were brutal. I rented a tiny room barely large enough for a single bed. Rain leaked through the ceiling whenever storms came. Sometimes the heating stopped working. Most nights I wrapped myself into blankets just to stay warm. Finding work wasn't easy. My English wasn't perfect. My savings disappeared quickly. Eventually I found work washing dishes in a crowded restaurant. For 12 hours every day my hands stayed underwater. By the end of every shift my fingers were swollen. Still, I showed up early, stayed late, never complained. During breaks I borrowed business books from the public library. Many nights I read until 2 in the morning, then woke again at 6. Sleep became a luxury. A year later I added a second job delivering packages. The work was exhausting. Heavy boxes, long hours, freezing winters, burning summers. But every customer taught me something. How businesses operated, how deliveries were organized, how supply chains connected companies across cities. Without realizing it, I was studying an industry while getting paid. One evening, an elderly warehouse manager noticed me reading business books during lunch. "You actually enjoy learning?" he asked. I smiled. "I don't want this job forever." He nodded thoughtfully. "Most people complain about where they are. Very few prepare for where they want to go." That sentence stayed with me. Over the next several years, I learned everything I could. Inventory systems, transportation, international shipping, customer service, negotiation, accounting. Every lesson became another brick in the future I wanted to build. I wasn't chasing revenge anymore. I was chasing freedom. And although I couldn't see it yet, my entire life was about to change forever.